Hey friends, and welcome to Cooking with Mrs. G. Today we are going to make buttermilk baking powder biscuits to go with our dill pickle soup that we made earlier. So let's begin by going over the kitchen rules. Always wash your hands before touching or prepping any food. Always cook with an adult, and never ever take any nut products to school. So first what we need to do is preheat our oven to 425 degrees, and then let's wash our hands. Some warm water and soap. Sing our song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, rinse them off. All right. So what do you think we need for this recipe? Well, it says it in there. Buttermilk we need. And we need baking powder, salt, flour, and this recipe I'm going to use cold butter because I think it tastes much better with butter. Okay, so let's begin by mixing our dry ingredients together. So we need 2.5 cups of flour. You want to make sure it's level because you don't want to have it dry. Okay, that's 1 cup. 2 cups, and get our half cupper, half a cup. And then we need 2 tablespoons. Remember that, not teaspoons, tablespoons. Leveled off. So that's 1, 2. All right, and our salt. We need 1 teaspoon. So you can measure out 1 teaspoon, but for me, it's about 10 turns. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And let's just give that a mix together. The mixer's not working. What's going on? That's not good. There we go. I didn't have it plugged in all the way. We'll give that a little mix together. And then we're gonna add in a half a cup of cubed butter. Okay? So if you look on here, it tells you measurements. This whole piece right here is 1 cup. This piece over here is 1 cup. This is a 1/4 cup right here, half a cup. So I'm going to cut that much. Half a cup. And then I'm going to cube it. And cubing means just cutting it into pieces. Okay? See, just like that. I'm going to just drop those in. Okay. Sorry. And then what we're going to do is just pulse it a few times together. Okay? So we're going to just turn it in up like that and kind of blend it together some. While that's doing that, we'll get our buttermilk ready. So we need to have 1 cup of buttermilk. So we'll pour it out. It's a thick kind of milk that has a little bit of a sour smell to it, but not too bad. Now we don't want to overdo it with the butter in here because we like to have our biscuits have clumps of butter in them because it just makes them much better tasting. So if you take a look, you'll see that some of this is got crumbles. That's our butter in there. All right. Gotta rinse off my hand. Okay, yes, there goes my cat again. And then we're gonna pour in our buttermilk. Okay, and mix it up. See, it's thick. But we don't want to over blend this because we're going to work it some more on the surface of a cupboard or table, whatever you want to use. But I'm going to use my cupboard and I'm going to lightly flour it. So while that's mixing right now, that's what I'm going to do is take some flour over here to my cupboard. Spray it on. And I'm going to have a cookie sheet lined with some wax paper. And then you want to have something all right. You're going to see our dough is crumbly, and that's what we want. Okay. There. You don't want a really wet dough for baking powder biscuits, but this milk will help make them soft and fluffy when they're cooked. Okay, so follow me over here, friends. Oh, I need my, hold on, I need my rolling pin. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is take this and pour it on here. And just gonna work it together some. We don't wanna do it too much though. And it's going to be a little bit sticky. That's why we're using the flour on the surface. But I moved some out of the way because I thought that might be a little bit too much flour. Okay, and we're just going to work our dough just a little bit more. And then we're going to roll it out and cut it. Some people take their biscuits and just go like this, which is fine too. But I thought it might be fun that I might make my family some heart-shaped today. Okay, so I'm going to take it like this, and coat both sides, and I'm going to roll it out. And I want my biscuits to be nice and thick, so I'm going to make sure my batter stays about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick. Okay, that looks about good. And then, see, I have a heart shape. So I'm gonna make them heart shaped today. And then I'm just gonna press my cookie press into it and see, this shape. Going to keep cutting it until we use up all the dough. And then I'm going to work all this back together again. And 4 more. Just coat it a little bit more. Okay. We just don't want to overwork the dough too much though, because then it'll get too tough. So after this bout, Okay. So that's about all I'm going to make out of this. So you should get between 9 to a dozen, depending on how big you're making them. And I'm making mine fairly big. All right. Then we're going to bake them in the oven. We're going to bake them in the oven for about 15 minutes or until you see them grow just a little bit and they get nice and golden brown. So I'm going to put it on for 15 minutes. All right. And while those cook, we'll take just a little break and I'll come back and show you what they look like in a few minutes. Okay? All right, friends. Here are our biscuits already made and ready to go. The heart shapes came out a little bit, but that's okay. My family will enjoy them anyway. And I hope you enjoy this recipe and you keep being safe. And I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.